Hi, how are you?
Hi, very good, very good. Thank you. And you?
Good, good.
Hello.
Just finished editing Euphoria
Yeah,
just a month or so ago, and it's been really exciting to see the response because the response
yeah.
has been even bigger than we expected.
Well, Mr. Butler, I start with the questions, and I want to ask to you, how did your passion for cinema begins?
It really began when I was a kid with my parents. They really loved movies, and I felt like movie night was like a big deal in our house. I have a little brother and a little sister, and yeah, when it was like we were gonna watch a movie, and this was back in the early days of HBO, in the very,
Mhm.
very early days of HBO, and like we would see that a movie was gonna be on at a certain time, and so we would make the popcorn and it was always like a really, those are some really happy moments for me. Never in a million years would I think that one day I would work on an HBO,
Yeah,
show, which is kind of fun. But but it was also both of my parents they struggled with drug addiction. And so movies and stories were also kind of an escape for me.
okay.
It was nice to have this kind of to be able to escape to a fantasy, world. And of course, my experience, with drug addiction would end up being perfect, for
Yeah,
Euphoria
yeah.
because it was something that I had lived myself, and I had experience, and it was really great for me to be able to pour those experiences into the show.
Yeah. And talking about the last season is a big work. I think I don't know how much you work on it. Maybe a year, maybe less, maybe more.
13 months, yeah, a little more than a
Okay,
year. 13
little
months of
more.
editing for me,
Yeah,
yeah.
big one, big one. We have
Big work.
other editors on TV series. We have especially about Star Wars, so Endor,
Mm.
Obi-Wan Kenobi, and it's a little different on this because uh, there are one editor that maybe do all the series, all the episode. Here, how the workflow work with your team and this. We can go very technical because we have a lot of editor. We are friend with Joe Walker, a lot of people that done especially cinema and movie, but
Yeah.
we are interested in everything. TV series are the new cinema. We all know Euphoria is a big movie at the end of the day.
Yeah,
So
it's basically, yeah, this season is and it was actually kind of edited that way as kind of like a 9 hour movie. And it was all shot simultaneously, which meant that all four editors worked on every single episode.
okay,
And so our workflow, the way it works is, the footage would come in, for a day, and it would have, one scene or multiple scenes or part of a scene. And then it starts with we have a supervising editor, Julio Perez,
okay.
and Julio has worked with Sam Levinson for
Yeah,
10 years, long, long time. And so Julio is kind of like Julio's also a producer on the show.
yeah, executive producer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
okay.
so Julio is kind of like this bridge, between Sam and editorial.
Okay.
And so the first thing that happens is Julio watches all the footage that comes in, and then he'll decide who he thinks which of the other editors might be best for a scene.
Ah, interesting.
And um or sometimes, we'll be like, "Oh, I really want to cut this scene." We'll put in a request like, or I really feel for this scene. Can I cut the scene? And it'll be like, "Okay, sure, great." But a lot of times, Sam and Julio will be like, "Oh, give this one to Aaron," you know.
Yeah,
And this season they ended up giving me a lot of the, sort of big, more complicated sequences. Like I cut the opening with Rue's car
yeah,
on the
yeah,
wall, and
yeah,
I cut the wedding and the wedding
yeah.
reception, Cassie and Nate's wedding reception. I
The
cut the
duel.
Cassie Zilla.
Yeah, yeah,
Like when he's going through the buildings.
yeah, yeah,
I cut the raid, the
Yeah.
middle of at Laurie's house when all the helicopters are
Yeah.
coming in. I cut the Rue or Ali and Alamo duel where the
Yeah.
bottles are rolling,
Yeah.
you know. So those were
Amazing.
some of the ones that they decided, like
Yeah.
give it to Aaron.
Yeah.
Um,
Key
so
scene,
that's like
big
yeah.
scene.
Yeah, there's some big scenes, right? So, I think I had kind of earned their trust on the second season, and the second season was my first season. And so yeah, once I get, Julio's watched it, then I'll get the scene and I'll do my cut, and I'll spend as long as I need, really exploring the footage and getting a really good first cut. And then I will show it to Julio. And sometimes I'll show it to him just by self, or sometimes all of the editors will get together and we'll all screen our scenes for each other. And then we can kind of see where everybody is at, see what everybody is doing, and give feedback to each other. And then Julio, will give us notes pass. And so I'll work with Julio really closely, getting the scene until we're really happy with it, and then we'll show it to Sam. And then
Yeah.
Sam, it's unusual because usually a, director or showrunner won't see, scenes until the whole episode is put
Yeah.
together. Sam likes to see it as soon as it gets cut. So Sam might come in on his lunch break and he'll sit with us and he'll watch all of the scenes that we're cutting while he's shooting, as soon
Yeah.
as we're done because he will then adjust things based on what we do. So we
Yeah.
may edit a
Amazing.
scene in a certain way, and he may go, "Oh, interesting," and he may change writing or change directing, or he may or go in and shoot additional things.
Yeah.
So he responds, we respond to his footage, and then he
Yeah.
responds to
That
the way that we cut it. So
amazing.
it's this really organic, creative, team-based kind of process of editing, which I think is
Yeah.
very, very unusual,
Yeah.
especially
Very unusual. Yeah.
for TV. For TV,
Yeah.
especially, it's very unusual.
Yeah. For TV, I heard no one that work
Yeah.
in this particular way, and is a function like this for all the season. Even the first one that you are not an editor on that, but you know that in the first one do it like this.
It's changed a little
Yeah.
bit each season. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
because
imagine.
I think the first season was different
Yeah.
because Sam was not the sole writer director on
Yeah.
all of them,
Yeah.
like he was on the second and third season. He
Yeah.
was the showrunner, but there were other directors.
Yes.
And I think on the second and third season, it was, things were block shot more like a traditional show
Okay.
so that it and usually it would be maybe just one editor on each episode.
Yes.
Like on the second season, I was I was the only editor on episode 2 and
Yeah.
episode 5, for
Yeah.
instance.
Yeah.
um but this third season, they had to shoot the whole thing continuously, and we actually had the finale episode, I think, was our first episode that we
Ah,
had a first assembly for before any of the other episodes.
no way.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. And at the end, so the episode is a community work with more than one editor. Yeah, like maybe three, maybe yeah. And how the do you talk about each editor person to put the scene together? How do you talk? You work together, you work in the same room but different scene, and then one that cut all together. How this?
Yeah, so first we're all, off on our own. So, I'll be working
Yeah.
on one scene and the other three editors will be working on their scenes. And then once we have, first cuts and we're happy with
Yeah.
them, we'll show them to Sam.
Yeah.
Then the next sort of process after that is we start to put them together in sequences. So
Yes.
some things are sort of already a sequence, like the wedding reception, right? The wedding
Yeah.
reception. So I just cut that whole thing,
Yeah.
and we had a couple of, one of the other editors helped with a few scenes. My assistant
Okay.
editor also edited, a few moments, but I basically, was sort of in charge of that whole huge
Yeah.
sequence. And so once those are put together, we will sometimes watch the whole sequence it together. But then eventually we do have whole episodes put together.
Yeah.
And then, usually what'll happen is Julio and Sam, once Sam is done shooting, he'll come in and Julio and Sam will go through the episodes together. Um, and then what they'll do is they'll start to experiment. They'll
Yeah.
start moving, playing with structure. They'll
Yeah.
start doing alternate versions of scenes. So they may be like, oh, Aaron, um, let's try an alternate version of this one scene. Like for instance, the opening scene where Rue is driving in the
Yeah.
desert. So they wanted to try an alternate of that without the Christopher Cross song. And
Okay.
so we tried an alternate with Hans Zimmer score instead.
Yeah.
And so it was this kind of slow, more poetic, cinematic kind of opening, with the big, broad,
Yeah.
kind of Western,
Yeah.
kind of
Desert.
epic
Yeah.
soundtrack. And it worked, but everybody kind of missed the fun,
Yeah.
Christopher Cross with her singing and stuff. And so when HBO saw the slow version, they were like, And then they showed them my original super fast fun cut, and they were like, yes, yes, yes. And so
Yeah.
that's like part of, so that's that part of that process is then, and we will, and sometimes we'll task force things, so like Sam and Julio will be going through the episode and they will be like, what if we totally restructured this thing? And so, the editor like Aleshka and I or Nick and I will take a section and we will work together and re-edit, and what if we did this and what if we moved this and, doing all these kind of experiments. So we're all kind of working simultaneously, usually on one episode at a time when it gets to that point.
What was it like working on an innovative and a provocative series like Euphoria? It's a strange experience.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting to see, it's like every little choice we make in the show, it's like everybody sees it and everybody's
Yeah.
talking about it.
Yeah.
And there's sort of positive and negatives
Yeah.
about that,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, we, we work so hard, on every cut, every moment, every sound, all the music, everything. We pour so much time and care and energy into every little bit. And so the positive is it's so nice, when the audience is so dialed in, they are picking up on every little thing we're doing. They're saying, "Oh, look at that interesting sound here. Look at that interesting music choice." Or, "Oh, I loved how they edited this together." Like, so that kind of, attention on our work is nice and kind of exciting. But
But
on the negative side, Sam likes to push buttons and he
yeah.
likes to make people uncomfortable and he likes
Yeah.
to,
Yeah.
throw things in people's faces.
Yeah.
He loves doing that. And so we get a lot of negative
Yeah.
attention too. So it's definitely there's pluses and minuses to working on a show,
Yeah.
like that. But overall, it's amazing to have people, to have so many fans, and to have people love the characters and love the show so much.
Yeah. For example, the most I think sequence talk about is Cassie Zilla.
Yeah,
The beginning of that episode is crazy. Everyone
yeah,
talk about this. Everyone, and
I
so
know that was a
talk
big moment.
about that sequence because it's crazy one. It's really funny, but everyone talk about it.
Yeah, and I think we kind of knew that that was going to be
Yeah,
a big one. And
think so.
I was excited that that I got the chance to
Yeah,
edit it.
yeah,
And yeah, it was really fun. And yeah, I mean, it's funny because me sort of personally, in when I was in high school and college, I made a lot of short films and
yeah,
just to entertain my
yeah.
friends, and they were very inappropriate and crazy and sexy, and because I love making people laugh, I've that's one of my big things. I love making people laugh. And so so this really, I
Yeah,
get this.
yeah,
I
yeah,
love making people laugh and pushing people's buttons, and because I
yeah,
feel like I've always been doing that, even when I
yeah.
was a kid, with the videos that I used to make, and so I felt very comfortable editing this.
Yeah,
Cassie
yeah,
Zilla.
yeah. It's important. I saw a video. I think I don't know, or maybe on Instagram that was a boy that a parody of the editor of that particular scene was
Yes.
really funny. Yeah, cioè, it's so
Well, the funny
famous.
part, yeah, the
Yeah,
funny part of that is, I saw that,
yeah,
I saw that,
yeah.
and
You
it
saw
was.
that?
Yeah, yeah. And it's funny because, the joke of the video is that like, oh,
Yeah,
he gets to like watch all these boobs
yeah,
and watch all this
exactly.
stuff. And
Sydney
he's like,
Sweeney. Yeah,
but the thing is, I'm gay.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
the editor, of
yeah,
that sequence
yeah,
is gay. It's like
yeah.
I'm not like getting off on
Yeah, yeah,
watching
yeah, yeah.
this. That's the
Yeah,
irony. But it goes
yeah,
back to that thing. It's like, online, it's like, well, people don't know, who
yeah,
I
yeah,
am.
yeah, yeah,
But it
exactly.
is funny. It
But
is funny that like literally they're parroting me. Like
yeah, exactly, because the parody is about you in the
yes.
editing moment.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, no other show probably
Yeah,
ever has a
no,
parody of their
no,
editors, right?
no, no other. I don't think so. Yeah, so incredible. And talking about filming Euphoria is shot. I saw it's the first series shot in 65 millimeter.
Yeah, yeah.
It's true. How you know how much part of it, how much is filmed?
The majority. I don't know the exact percentage, but it's
More
more
or less.
65 than anything else. There's a lot of 35
Yeah,
too,
35,
but it is
65.
it is primarily it is mostly 65.
No digital.
No
No
digital.
digital. No
No.
digital. Because
And
the
almost
first
all.
one was digital.
Yep, yep.
The second 35 and this one 65 and 35.
Exactly. Exactly. And
And
there's
change
not and
something.
everything's practical too. Everything
Yeah.
like, there's not the visual effects are mostly for cleanup.
Yeah.
There's actually a car
Yeah.
on a
Yeah, I
wall.
saw it. Yeah,
Like
incredible.
it's
At the
not
beginning. Yeah.
visual effects. And
Yeah.
Cassie Zilla, they spent a year building all of those miniatures.
Incredible.
It's
Yeah.
all real, but it looks
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Incredible, incredible. Yeah, I think that that kind of visual perfection, no, nothing on TV series for now. I think
And not
maybe,
even a lot of movies. Even a lot of
and
movies
not,
don't look
not,
like
yeah,
this,
and
right?
not even, yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly, yeah. Maybe some kind of spectacular image. Maybe the Game of Thrones one that was a big
Yeah.
movie, a
Those
big,
are pretty epic. Yeah, yeah.
pretty, but this one is in the most recent year is incredible. No, no one made it like this, so it's it's incredible.
Is there a director you dream of working with in the future?
Wow, that's a really interesting question.
It's
You
my
know, I
specialty.
Yeah, yeah. Oh gosh. I mean, I always used to think it would be really interesting, and it's too late now, but to do something really unusual like David Lynch,
Yeah,
like it would have been, like his filmmaking is
yeah,
so, unique and so
unique.
unusual. Like I feel like I would have, that would have
Yeah,
been a really interesting experience because it would just be, for me, I'm always looking for what is different and what is like for my creativity, I always want a new challenge. And so
yeah,
something like that would have been really interesting to work on something so surreal and abstract. And so that would have been I would have loved to work with him.
yeah,
Great choice.
yeah. And talking about another series that you edited, The Idol, is
Oh yeah.
even this one is crazy one. I think is
Yeah.
crazy, crazy one. But you tell something about the editing process of on that series.
Yeah, the probably the most interesting thing about editing that series is that it was it was a ton of improv.
Yeah.
It was kind of, you know, there were scripts for the first couple episodes,
Yeah.
and that was kind of it. And then after
Yeah.
that, it was like kind of just a rough
All
outline.
improv.
And so they really kind of shot it like a documentary. And so, I mean, we had
Got it.
some scenes that would be just, it would be hours and hours of them just riffing and playing and doing stuff that would cut down to like a 2 minute scene, you know?
Okay.
And so that was the most interesting part. It was also the hardest part, you know,
Yeah.
of it being basically like a
Yeah.
documentary is
Yeah.
like we were kind
Yeah.
of, you know, creating a lot of the structure and a lot of the story was just being created in the edit.
In editing,
Yeah.
really interesting. Yeah, and there was a lot of shotting material, like hours,
Huge
ton,
amount. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
huge. Yeah,
Million, yeah, more than 1 million feet of film. Like, yeah.
yeah. A lot. And you are an editor on all the episode.
Yeah, same kind of like what we did on season two.
Yeah, on
Euphoria.
Euphoria. And people always talking about that maybe there was a lot of more episode, a lot less. Maybe we know that one thing, maybe not. It's true that maybe there was more than six,
Well,
five episode.
you know, no, I mean, it was always planned for 5 episodes.
Yeah,
Um, you know, there probably was enough footage to
to
cut
make
6 episodes,
10
but there wasn't,
episode. Yeah,
but there wasn't
yeah,
enough story. There wasn't
yeah,
enough story,
yeah,
you know. It was like the story was good
yeah.
at 5 episodes. So no, there's not like a missing episode or anything.
Yeah, yeah, there was a lot of talking
I
about
know.
this. Yeah, and cutting stuff and things. So this is one.
It was
But
always meant to be five, yeah.
yeah, okay, okay. And but anyway, even this, a lot of talking about, a lot of
I
not
know, I know.
controversial, but I
Yeah,
think that is Mr. Levinson is a great provocateur, like
he
uh,
really is.
Verhoeven one. Verhoeven
Oh
one.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
The
He would
idol,
probably he would
the
probably be
idol,
proud to hear you say
yeah, the
that.
idol is very Verhoeven one, and yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I think from the first episode, you can see from the first scene you can see the where he's going to go. But yeah, I like it. Uh, Someone not, and
I
yeah,
know, I know. Yeah. Well, it's funny because yeah, in the last, you know, when Euphoria was airing, The Idol went into the top 5 shows. So
yeah,
a lot of people were going back and watching it.
going back and watch. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And you plan to maybe working on the next project of Mr. Levinson?
Oh yeah, I he is the best showrunner, writer, director I have ever worked with, and he respects editing and editors in a way that is just it's so good to work with him. It's the best job I've ever had,
Yeah.
and the best group of people, the best team of people I've ever worked with. I will work on anything that
Yeah.
Sam does, 100%. I am there in a heartbeat.
Do you have an favorite movie? You know, when
A
you
favorite
come
movie.
to home and say, I need to watch this movie.
Well, yeah. Well, I guess there's, you know, there's different kinds of favorite movies or, you know,
Yeah.
or like a, you know, like a comfort movie, you
Yeah.
know, and I think the range for me, you know, I think, you know, like one of my favorite movies of all time is Fellini, Eight and a
Mhm.
Half. Like
Yeah.
that was one of my like
Yeah.
first movies I ever
Yeah.
watched that like kind of blew
Yeah.
my mind and let me understand what a director was and
Yeah.
how, you know, and he gets into some really amazing surreal
Yeah.
poetic symbolic stuff and the way that he, you know, moves actors through space just,
Yeah.
oh, I just, you
Yeah.
know, so I could watch Fellini, you know, anytime. I don't know, there's something about his work that I just
Yeah.
love. But for like a comfort thing, you know, I would watch like Airplane, you know. Airplane is one of I think one of the
Yeah.
funniest movies of all
Yeah.
time, and
Yeah,
it
Yeah.
just put something on to make me laugh. I've watched it 100 times and I laugh every single time. So
it's,
that's sort of the two ends of the
Yeah.
spectrum.
Yeah.
it's
It's
amazing.
perfect. Yeah.
Airplane. Thank you.
And talking about another project of your, you work on Jesus is King,
Oh
the
yeah.
the film experience concert, and about this. Even this is a very particular kind of movie. Yeah,
Controversial or
yeah, controversial. Yeah, a lot of controversial. Yeah, but how? First of all, how you have the job, how you find the job on the, because you are the editor in this, there is no one, you are the editor. Yeah,
Yeah, so what had happened was they had gone through some other editors before me, and it just didn't work out, and Kanye just wasn't happy with the result. And so I just got a call kind of out of the blue, and it was, it was because I had won an Emmy. They said that that was
yeah,
important at the time. I had just had one Emmy win at the time, and they also it was a documentary I had done called Cries from Syria, HBO documentary,
yeah,
Sundance, and so there were a couple of people who had seen that movie, and I had actually cut that movie in 11 weeks. Which is sort of like unheard of for a
yeah,
documentary. And so they knew that I was kind of like, somebody who could take a
yeah.
cut really fast, and because they had 1 week basically to finish the Jesus is King, and that was it. And so they thought, oh, send Aaron because Aaron's fast.
Yeah,
Aaron is
go
a
ahead.
problem solver, and
Yeah.
he can make anything happen, right? So yeah, so they put me on a private jet with the president of IMAX and flew me out to Kanye's ranch in Wyoming,
Wyoming.
and Kanye and I got along great. He loved my work, and I came up with a bunch of really creative ideas that he just loved, and yeah, and we got it. We locked picture, and it was and everybody was really really happy. So
Yeah, it was a big event in America. We all IMAX sold out, and
yeah,
in Italy, obviously, never come out. But
oh yeah, yeah.
I think that I found a couple of years ago upload on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how found, but maybe I send you the link and you tell me if the thing that you edit,
Yeah, I
because
can tell you if that's what I
yeah,
did or
yeah,
not.
is your job or not? Because
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know. I was always hoping that it got a, release on streaming, but maybe someday.
how your job as editing, you study, you made all by yourself. How this thing born?
Yeah, so I was for college, I was going to UC Berkeley in the
Yeah.
San Francisco Bay Area, and I was studying pre-law. I always thought I was going to be a lawyer, and
Okay.
but in all my spare time, I was making these short films.
Yeah.
Like I said before, just to entertain my friends. I just
Yeah.
love making my friends laugh,
Yeah.
and I sort of, they were really popular. I would go to a party and people would be like, Aaron, bring your videos. And people just loved them. And so my senior year comes along and I'm getting ready to take, the tests to get into law school. And thankfully, my roommate, Scott, was like, Aaron, like, why are you going to law school? Like, shouldn't you go to film school? You love making these movies and everybody loves them, like, why don't you do that instead? And I was like, can I? Like, it never even
Yeah.
occurred to me that I could do that, as a career or make money.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, maybe my senior year of college, I'll just get like an internship or something. I'll try it out. And so I ended up meeting, I just sort of cold called people, and I ended up meeting this documentary film director named Bill Jersey. And he had been nominated for 2 Academy Awards and had won Emmys. And he was this sort of amazing, huge guy in the
Yeah.
documentary community. And I showed him one of my short films, and he was like, "Oh, you're an artist." And no one had ever called me that before. And he's like, "Do you want to do a film with me?" And I was like, "Sure." And so I shot and edited this documentary film with him, and it won first place at the New York festivals and first place at the U.S. International Festival, and it got acquired by PBS, and I got my first broadcast editor credit. And then when I graduated from college, his lead editor and lead camera person moved to New York, and he offered me the job. And so at 20 years old, I became the lead editor of his company. And so I never ended up going to law school, and I never ended up going to film school either,
No
because
way.
Bill became my film school. He was so brilliant, and he's actually still alive. He just celebrated his, I think his 90th birthday.
Brother.
And this week, and I actually just sent him a message telling him happy birthday.
No way.
But he was brilliant, and he taught me so much about filmmaking, about shooting, about editing, about storytelling. And yeah, he changed my life and changed my
Yeah.
career. So that was how I got started.
Do you have a spoiler about the new project?
Um, no, no new
No.
projects yet. Yet. I'm just trying to, yeah. But I am actually working on a book about
Yeah.
storytelling. Yeah.
Amazing.
And it's a little ways off. We're just in the early days, but I have this amazing literary agent, and so we're working together on the storytelling book, and it's a little ways off, but we can when that comes out,
Amazing.
we can talk to you about. I can
Yeah,
come back on and talk to you about that.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. About the a possible directing something you ever talk about, think
Well, I
about?
have. I mean, I have. I have
Why
directed.
not?
Yeah, I have directed a bunch of things, and a lot of the documentaries I edited, I was also producer on. So
Yeah.
I was helping direct interview, deciding what
Yeah.
the interview questions are, deciding what to shoot, and yeah, I do love that process. But yeah, it's a good question. I'm not
Yeah.
opposed to it, and because I have done a bunch of smaller things in the past. So if the right project would come along, I would do that.
Because I study as an editor, so
Yeah,
and the thing that I always say the most easy way to see if you are a director is in editing because you have the full control of what you shot. And
it's
maybe it's
true.
true, a lot of great editor became great directors, and
It's true.
great
And no,
directors,
yeah,
there are
that's true.
great editors. So
Wait,
Yeah.
guy, if you want to make a new movie, call me because I'm a writer. Okay.
yeah,
Oh, you're a writer. Awesome,
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. Thank you so much, sir.
Oh,
Of
yeah.
course. My pleasure. My pleasure. Thanks for having
Thank
me.
you so much. Really, it was amazing. When you come to Italy, call us. We
Will
are
do.
here.
Will do.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
If you ever come for vacation or something,
Great to meet you guys.
it was really a pleasure. Thank you.
Okay.
Very, very,
Thanks.
very
Take care.
pleasure. Thank you so much,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Have a great day, sir.
Thank you.
Bye.